Hi, welcome back everyone. This is another house building in The Sims 4. Today we are building a Mediterranean, South California kind of Beverly Hills style house. Just a quick disclaimer, this house was actually finished about a week ago, a week and a bit ago. I just haven't been able to upload the video till now because I have actually been on holiday for the last, probably for the last 7 days. I was in the Lake District, which is in the UK. It's like a hilly area. It was a nice holiday. Yeah, that's why I haven't been uploading anything over the last week. And the other reason why I wanted to mention this is just because I'm aware that obviously the new pack was released. The Wedding Stories one. I haven't actually installed it yet. I haven't downloaded it. I haven't actually played the game yet since I've been back from holiday. Um, but it kind of is fitting that this house is a Mediterranean style because it actually goes quite well with the new pack. Pure coincidence. It wasn't intentional. I didn't actually know anything about the new pack really, probably until like halfway through building this house. Um, so it was quite funny that I happened to be based on the same kind of thing. I have since done some research into the new pack, and I'm 99% sure there's no 64 by 64 lots in the new pack in the new world. So unfortunately, you won't be able to place this lot in that world. I guess you could place it, but then you might lose part of the landscaping. But the actual house, like the house itself, may fit in like a 50 by 50 lot, which I think is the biggest in that new world. But even then, like it might look a bit odd. So I'd say stick to the 64 by 64 for this one. Obviously, it's entirely up to you. You're downloading the house. I've already built it, but yeah, it was a really fun build actually. It's been a while since I've done like a Mediterranean style house. Um, the reason I don't build them that much is I just find them quite difficult to build. And it's strange because there's a lot of Mediterranean style objects in this game, but it's just I don't know, they're hard to build like and get them to look nice and kind of somewhere that you'd want to live basically. And I mean, I'm happy with the result of this house in the end. I think it turned out nicely. As you can see, I built the basketball court on the side outside, just because I didn't see the point of putting the basketball court inside the house this time. I kind of wanted it to feel like a smaller mansion. Um, so the basketball court's outside, so it's there if you want to use it, but it's not in the way if you just want to live in the house, and I think that's probably how it works best. That said, this house is 3 floors, but kind of the design of this house is from the very front of the house. It kind of just looks like a one-story building with like a roof area. And in terms of builds, I've done it in the past. Use the I guess it's the roof E. So when you place roofs down, obviously you have to place it on the floor of the next level up. But using half walls and like the fact that you can extend the eaves below the height of the wall height. It's quite difficult to explain, but you can see me using it now. So you have like the half walls, and then you kind of stretch the roof out above them. So it kind of gives the look that the roof is actually. I don't know. It lets you hide away the dormers. It's hard to explain, but it'll kind of make sense when the house is finished. But it's quite a technical thing to do. So if you're new to building in the game, I wouldn't recommend trying to use that approach. But at least from the outside, you kind of get this cool aspect that actually it's almost like a split level. Well, it is a split level house, but it looks like some levels are different heights to other levels. Like wall heights are sorry, let me rephrase that. So basically it looks like you have one level with differentiating wall heights, which obviously the game doesn't let you do, but with this kind of I'm not sure what you could call it, just a technique of building. You can kind of make it look like you've got one level with different wall heights, and it just adds a lot of character to the build, um, in my opinion. As you can see, though, just adding the roof in, the roof does change quite a lot. And you'll see kind of some like interesting red paint appear in certain areas of the house. And that's basically because I needed a wall texture, which was, the bottom half was red and the top half was beige. Well, actually, no, I say that I needed a wall texture where the top half was beige, and the only one I could find that lets you do that had the bottom half, the most like fitting color was red. And in, like in the end, I just went for it just because it made the dormers, as you can see in that kind of bit off to the side where the garage is going to go, where I'm using the roof to build the ramp, those dormers are a different colour to the wall below, but they're actually the same wall, if that makes sense. So I had to use that kind of double coloured like half, where like the bottom half of the wall is red, the top half of the wall is beige. Quite complicated to explain, and doesn't come across that well in sped up video either. So I'm not really one for doing tutorials, but I haven't really seen many people use this kind of building technique, or at least I'm not aware of it anyway. So if it's something that you want kind of like a more in-depth video of, I can definitely look at making that. It's kind of just, do people like builds like this? I don't know, because it's interesting. Maybe it's something that I should do a tutorial of. If you want that tutorial, let me know in the comments below, and I'll work on it. But yeah, just add in kind of like the brown flooring. Initially, like I went for those kind of like big stone archways, and I think they look really nice. But the problem is in this Sims 4 is they only come in one size, and that's for like a short wall. So if they had bigger archways, it would be so much better, or thicker columns. That would kind of be ideal. But they don't have either of those. So in the end, those kind of stone columns, they do get replaced with something else. Just because perspective for, I guess the scale didn't look right. They just looked like they were too small for what they should be. But I'm going back into like this house anyway. As you can see, the front of the house kind of looks like 1 or 2 floors, and the back of the house is quite clearly 3 levels. And I just thought it's a cool look to go for. A split level. It looks like it's built into the hill rather than the hill being built for the house. And I always think if you can do a split level house, definitely do it, because it just makes the landscaping a lot more interesting, B, a lot more fun to build, and also C, it just makes the landscaping easier to kind of zone out. So instead of having just one big open field in the back garden, you can kind of have like, oh, well, I've got a ramp here, so the driveway will work there. Then I've got the swimming pool over here. I don't know, however you want to arrange it, but it's just something to think about. And you don't have to do a split level house to use the landscaping. Like you can just do like a single story house kind of built on a hill, and it does look good. And yeah, I just think it's been nice. But let me know what you think of this one, obviously in the comments as well, because I do love getting feedback. And more recently than I've been getting quite a lot more feedback, which is really appreciated. And I've had a few house request builds come in. The first one is for like a luxurious palace, lavish, kind of, I think the word ostentatious was used, or like, anyway, basically like the ultimate luxury palace, which is something that I am going to look into doing, 100%. And that'll probably be the next build as well. It may not be the next build video, but it'll probably be the next build I start. But the kind of plan I have in mind is going to take a while for that to finish. But luckily, not this week. Well, it won't. So I plan on releasing this video. What's the date today? 27th of 27th of February. So anyway, so the video should be coming out today, 27th of February. May come out tomorrow. It just depends on how long it takes to load. But anyway, just act as so if this video comes out when it's supposed to today or tomorrow, then I'm working obviously this week, Monday to Friday, so there won't be any videos coming out this week. But then the week after, I've got another week off, but I'm not actually going anywhere, because originally I was supposed to be going to France, but kind of like issues with the flights, and I wasn't sure about the COVID situation, so that holiday got cancelled a few months ago. Probably would have been alright to go now, but it is what it is. It's been cancelled, so I've just got a week off. I haven't got any plans yet in that week. Obviously, I'm not going to spend the entirety of the week playing Sims, but the time that I spend normally working probably will be spent playing Sims, which is good, because it means I can work on a project that I've kind of had in my mind now for the last few months. It's going to be a massive build. I don't want to kind of give away too much, because I want to build something that's like the most expensive kind of lot that I've seen in The Sims. But the problem is I don't know what the limit is. Like, I don't know how far my computer will let me go. Like, will it get to a point where it's just like there's too many objects, the game can't cope, it crashes? If we get to that point, then great. Like, I'd love to know what that point is, but I'd be slightly annoyed as well at the same time, because I have this idea in my head. Like, I've built a 12.5 million simoleon house before, and don't get me wrong, like the actual house, like that I built for 12.5 simoleons. It's not that impressive in terms of the architecture. It's a very, I mean, I basically called it a hotel that had been converted to a house. So, but it's not very interesting looking house from the outside. It's just a big kind of mansion beyond big. It doesn't even look like a mansion. It looks like almost like a stately parliamentary building. Pretty basic, not much detail, but the inside was like really built up. But I could have made it cost more money. But I kind of limited myself because I didn't utilize the whole space of the lot. I used a lot of the lot, but I didn't utilize all of it. So I am planning on building something even bigger. Well, I said I wasn't going to give away too much, but to be honest with you, like, I hope this video does well, but I think most people watching this video will be like, compared to the amount, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I want it to cost 25 million. So anyway, but enough of talking about builds that haven't happened yet that I'm planning on. Let's get back into this build. A couple annoying glitches I found when building this. I don't know if it's not a glitch actually. Glitch is the wrong word. It's just basically when you build like a staircase next to a half wall, and then you build a full wall next to it, it kind of doesn't know what height to put the steps on, and it just can be frustrating. It's not a glitch because how would the game know what height you want the stairs to be if you've got two different height walls next to each other? I'm not sure, but it can be frustrating. But that's nothing compared to how frustrating what I did halfway through this build is. So originally I was going to include the footage of it, but it ended up just, I could have included all the footage of it, but it would have just made for a boring video because I would have just been building something to then rebuild it. But basically, I finished the outside of the house, like the structure of the house, done probably like 50% of the, maybe like 70% of the landscaping of the garden. And somewhere in between finishing the structure of the house and saving it, to probably spend about an hour and a half on, well, probably 2 hours on landscaping the garden. Somewhere along them lines, I pushed the flatten the whole lot tool. So if you go into the terrain tools, there's an option to flatten the whole entire lot, which is fine. Like, it's a good tool to have because sometimes you just want to flatten the lot. But because obviously the back of the lot is quite flat anyway, I didn't realise I pushed it. So as you can imagine, I finished building the garden, went to the front of the lot, and I was like, oh, this looks weird. The bushes were all out of line. I was like, hang on, where's the driveway gone? Why is it flat? And why is there a massive gap between the floor and the front door of the house? And then I realised I'd pushed that button. I tried to undo it as much as I could, but eventually got to the point where I was undoing it so much that I basically undone enough to go back to the previous save point. But the interesting thing is, I then kept on undoing it, and then it just stopped letting me undo it. So I was like, this isn't good. Let me just quit the game, don't save it. Then I'll relaunch the game, and hopefully the game will load with the terrain in the correct place, so I don't have to redo the driveway, because honestly that would have taken way longer than redoing the garden. Reloaded the game, and it turns out it was a save before that because the whole lot was still flat, and I was like, this is really bad. Almost wanted to give up the build. But then I quickly Googled, I was like, how do you recover a save game? Thankfully, The Sims 4 does let you recover a save game. I didn't know that. If you didn't know that, you do now. So I was able to recover that save game, and then I hadn't lost all that kind of terrain tools. Did have to redo the garden, but sometimes when you get to redo something, you redo it better. And in this case, actually, I think it was a good job that I could redo the garden because I made the garden look nicer, in my opinion. But I just thought that was interesting to share with you. That it may appear that I'm a good builder in the videos, which is obviously debatable, but even I make some of the basic mistakes. And just a heads up for anyone, just keep an eye on that terrain tool because it can really get you when you're not expecting it. And also save your game. That's the other thing I recommend. Save your game frequently so that if you do make that mistake, you can go back to a save that you haven't done that much work between. Probably save your game after like every, like, I mean, I say save every half an hour. I probably save every 2-3 hours because that's just life, isn't it? It's easy to tell you to do it, but it's harder to do it. But anyway, just building. This is like a music recording studio. This is kind of like a games room, like entertainment room. So I kind of imagine that this is where this kind of like room where you got the table tennis, you got the foosball table. You get everyone round. You've got a big game on. And talking of big games, it's actually Liverpool versus Chelsea right now. It's the Carabao Cup final. So once I finish this voiceover, I shall be going down to watch that because I do like football. I support West Ham United, which is in East London. For anyone who doesn't know where that is, they're doing all right at the moment. They just beat Wolves 1-0. Quite a tense game, but 1-0 is 1-0. Win's a win. Happy with that. And it puts us back into fifth as well. So that's good. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sure a lot of people are not interested in English football watching this, which is totally fine because that's not why you clicked on it. But yeah, just doing like the rest of that room there. So the whole kind of like downstairs basement, whatever you want to call it, of the house is basically a music studio, kind of like an entertainment / games room. Then you got the bar area. The bar ended up being really cool. Actually, just before we get to the bar, in the entertainment room as well, I wanted to put that big kind of like giant theatre screen, but I didn't have a spare wall to put it, so I used the kind of curtains to make it look like it was hanging. And it's something that you kind of like roll down when you want it and roll it up when you don't, just so you're not obstructing the view, obviously. Because why would you build a plot on a plot like this to then block out the view? You just wouldn't. So that was kind of the best of both worlds. You don't cover the view, but you also get the TV. But yeah, you can see we've got a bowling alley as well. Just a small 2-lane bowling alley. I didn't want anything too extravagant because it's not a massive. Well, it is a massive house, but it's not. Like, I didn't want like a 10-lane actual bowling alley because who actually needs a 10-lane bowling alley? Like, you can't bowl in 2 lanes at the same time. So 2 lanes it is. But yeah, and then there's also like a movie theatre room as well. The movie theatre, I actually, for the first time, I've never thought to do this before, but I decided to use the massage chairs, and they actually worked really well because they look a lot bigger, they look more comfy, they look like proper movie theatre like chairs. Like you're sitting in that chair for 2 hours, you need something comfy. And then there's kind of like this back room behind the bowling alley. It's like a hidden room. It's not hidden, but it's like a maintenance room that I just like to include when I do bowling alley. It just makes it more realistic, in my opinion. But yeah, here's a theatre. Nothing too special. Just standard red walls, red carpet, and then yeah. At the moment, you can see like normal armchairs, but those armchairs will change for the massage chairs. So that's good to see. Kind of a bit redundant, that room, to be fair, because I know if I was watching a film, I'd probably rather watch it in the other entertainment room anyway and just roll the screen down and have the view behind. But I guess like this room in reality, not in The Sims, but in real life, it would have better sound quality because it's more enclosed. It's got the kind of carpet. There's just less for the noise to kind of echo off. So there you go. Just adding in those nice massage chairs as well. Not the nicest looking chairs, to be honest. I'm not sure if they're even functional in that room because obviously I've used the platform, so technically they're probably not functional, but who knows really. And then I also put some kind of like interesting cabinets on the side and that kind of like stairwell area, which actually I don't fill with anything, but you can fill them. And then you got the lovely bar as well. I'm not sure if there's any footage of the bar room. I did record building it, but I kind of kept going back and forth to it, so I might have skipped some about. Oh no, here you go. You can see. Well, that was curtains anyway. But yeah, once we get into the bar room, you'll notice that the bar it's one long bar, but it's part inside, part outside. I thought that was a really nice feature. Love it when I can do that. Don't often get the chance to do it, just because of the way that I design houses. But it was kind of like I was having an outdoor bar anyway, and I was right. Rather than having like 2 separate bars, let's just have one big bar, and then you've got one that you can use in kind of in the winter, and one where you can use in the summer. Not really sure. You have summer and winters in California. I think it's pretty much just hot all year round, but it's just a nice feature to have. And it was at this point as well when I first discovered about this new wedding pack coming out. Believe it or not, like I don't keep up to date with all the new releases just because honestly, like I'm not interested in some of the stuff that comes out for The Sims 4. Like I'd rather just have some news about The Sims 5 now, but it is what it is. But I kind of halfway through building this, I was like, all right, they're bringing a wedding pack out. Kind of had my fingers crossed that there'd be a 64 by 64 lot in that pack, and then I'd put this lot in it, but it's not happened. It's not going to happen, so just ignore it. You're just going to have to play with it in a 64 by 64 lot that you've already got. But on the plus side, it does mean if you don't have the wedding pack, you can still download this house without an issue. But anyway, what was the point I was going to make? So basically, because the wedding pack got announced halfway through building this, I was going to make it like a wedding themed house. But then I was like, I have nowhere, because I hadn't designed it to be a wedding house, I had nowhere for someone to kind of walk and do like, what's it, when they walk up the aisle, kiss, get married, that thing. I had nowhere to kind of put that, like that area. So instead of doing that, I kind of made this like almost like a house that like you would hire out in a location where you're getting married. So you don't actually have the wedding in this house, because why would you want to get married in a house? Like you might get married in the church, whatever. Something more interesting, but then this is kind of like you have the week here, so you got all your family over, you can party, do this, that, and the other. Just a really fun lot. It'd make a great lot to rent out for like the week or so. It's got all the mod cons, etc. Kitchen was alright. Kitchen's not my favourite kitchen I've done, but also not my worst. It's just a standard kitchen, really. One thing about The Sims, though, which actually I do want to mention, they need to make a double fridge. And when I say double fridge, I don't mean like they've technically got a double fridge already because they've got fridges with 2 doors, but they need to make a fridge that takes up 2 squares, because that kind of double fridge, it just looks stupid because it's so narrow. And like you got this massive kitchen and you got this tiny fridge. Like the interesting thing is, if you place that double fridge next to like the fridge freezer, which is the one where the fridge is underneath and the freezer's on the top, if you place it next to that, it looks tiny. It just looks stupid. So I hope that's something that is taken into account. And I also hope not just for the fridges, but like other objects as well. Like they already, for example, the bookcases, you can already get different size bookcases. So why can't I get different size double beds? Why can't I have different size fridges? Why can't I have a double range cooker? That kind of thing. Why can't I have an oven that's built in, but actually at like eye height rather than it being built in, but then being built into the cabinet at normal level? Like I want more options, but I'm not expecting it. It's not kind of not my biggest wish, but it would be nice to have. If you agree, make sure you comment as well, or make sure comment what you think you'd like to see. I'm talking about build mode, live mode. There's a whole video I can make about what I'd like change about live mode, but let's not get too distracted. But yeah, this video's this house it was good fun to build. It's interesting style inside. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it is almost dated, but it's still like it's luxury. I'd call it luxury. The upstairs bedrooms actually ended up being quite small, and I don't really show the furnishing of most of them just because I really, once you get to like the 7th bedroom, you kind of just run out of things to do with it. But yeah, it's got a nice amount of bedrooms, nice amount of bathrooms, and the master bedroom's really nice. You've got like a lovely big roll top bath. Is that a roll top bath? I don't know. Probably not. I think roll top bath is the one where like, well, it's self-explanatory. Like, I'm not even gonna bother explaining it because Google it. Tell me in the comments that I don't know what a roll top bath is, and then we'll go from there. That's probably easiest. But yeah. Anyway, use that kind of like turret area. I call it a turret. It's like the tower on the corner. Just thought it looked nice from the outside, and then you kind of realise when you're building the layout, you're like, damn, I've got this stupid turret that I've got to furnish. Easiest thing to do is put a bathroom in it. The only difficulty that I've had in the past with these kind of like turrety kind of towers is they make a great bathroom, but it's really annoying because in The Sims you can't get diagonal, but you can get diagonal bathroom cabinets, but you can't get like a 45-degree angle cut out bathroom cabinet. It's like all in right angles. So if they had that, that'd be great, and then it could make it so much more easier. But anyway, they don't. But the other thing with making them bathrooms is sometimes the layout of the house just doesn't warrant a bathroom being in that spot, and then it gets frustrating because you're like, well, what do I do with this space? But it is what it is. Done, done, done. Just doing the guest bedrooms now. You'll see like the bedrooms have like the 2 archways in the wall, and the reason for that is because that wall I couldn't delete it because it's actually a roof wall. Obviously, one of the frustrations of this game, you can't delete roof walls. So when you build a roof and it's got the wall, like if you build a triangular roof and you've got the wall, you can't delete those wall pieces. So the way around it is to put the archway, and that's why you've got the windows behind it, because obviously there'll be no natural light in that room otherwise. But the windows are at the right height, so if you're lying in the bed, you can look out and you've got the view. So that's all good. But yeah, just doing the dressing room, just adding some bedrooms, doing that checkered carpet that I like to do in the master bedrooms. But yeah, that's it for this video. I'll leave you with the screenshots. Please let me know what you think of these houses. Comment below as well. I really appreciate it. I do read all the comments and I will reply to them all as and when I can. And also thank you, because we are now at 159 subscribers at the time of recording this video, which is really, really good. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.